There we go. Satiko.
Sawadee Cup.
How are you today, Coach Denny?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. Appreciate
Awesome.
you inviting me, and I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. You've a bit of an awesome reputation in the martial arts community. So for our listeners, who are you?
Well, I'm Coach Danny Terrell, and I go by Coach because I have a pretty good list of martial arts behind me that I'm relatively high level in. Um, I started boxing when I was 11 years old. Wasn't a very good boxer, but I was in a lot of school fights. I had a older brother that was autistic, and he got picked on a lot. So I would rush in and start creating chaos, trying to protect him, and ended up realizing, well, if I'm going to do that, I need to learn how to fight. So I finally persuaded my parents to allow me to take boxing. My mom was against it completely, but my father understood, and so I boxed for a couple of years, and then so I was 11 when I started boxing, and then when I was 13, 13, University of Southwest Louisiana, which is about 20 miles to the north of us, they started a wrestling program, and there was no wrestling in Louisiana at the time, and so this coach came in and started a wrestling program there, and then he started a summer program within that to try to build up youngsters coming up, so eventually that they would have a feeder program going into the collegiate wrestling scene. So my father was interested in me doing that, so he brought me to UL during the summers to do the wrestling, and I did that for a couple of years. Unfortunately, that coach moved on after about 3 years, and that whole program fell apart. That was in 1968,
Okay.
66, 67, 67. And then the wrestling program fell apart, so that kind of went to the wayside. So I took up gymnastics, and there wasn't a lot of really big gymnastics, but did more trampoline type stuff, and so learned to again to use the human body itself and good body mechanics. And good body mechanics is good body mechanics. It doesn't matter what you're in and what you're doing.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I played sports and other football, baseball, yada yada. Ran track, and I got into running track. I broke my right leg playing football when I was 14, and the coach said, why don't you come out and run track and strengthen your leg up to be ready for the football season? And I've been running ever since, or I had been running ever since until then. So I started running the mile, and ended up going through high school, set a school record in high school that fortunately still stands today. That was in 1972, and that record still stands. So that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
From there, I took Shotokan. Um, that was really the only thing as far as martial arts in the area was Shotokan karate and Taekwondo. There was no judo, there was no wrestling, there was no Muay Thai, there was nothing other than that. So I took Shotokan, black belt in Shotokan, and then from there I went into the military. Of course, military combatives and other stuff, and I trained as a uh, PJ, pararescue.
Hmm.
Went through almost all of the training, and then it got washed out because of my eyesight. I had about 6 weeks left of the training to do, uh, and they said, "Terrell, you got eye problems." So I
Oh.
ended up, getting my eyes checked, and said, "Yeah, you have to have minimum 20/20 vision." So ended up getting washed out because of that. But I had gone through almost all the training. I was doing the medical stuff when I got washed out. They did a quick um, cross training into turboprops aircraft, and then they sent me to Little Rock Air Force Base, and I was there for about 3 months. Did Worked on some hydraulic stuff, and then they had me doing actually support with pararescue guys because I had the training and they'd already put all that training into me. So I wasn't a pararescue guy, but they utilized me in pararescue operations and stuff. Um, I did 5 CIA missions while I was there, Blackbird missions, where there was a blacked out aircraft, no insignia. Um, was in the pullout for Vietnam uh, in 1975. Officially, we were out of Vietnam April 30th, 1975. My last day in Vietnam was, and the crew that I was with was May 5th. So we went in almost 5 days after the official closing.
Okay.
Um, and then May 12th, I believe, if I remember right, May 12th, Cambodia captured the merchant ship, the Mayaguez. That's when Pol Pot was just beginning to take over with Vietnam having shut down. And we went in with, I don't know, 40 Marines and got back the merchant ship. Unfortunately, we lost about 18 Marines, I believe. It was a bad mission. We had bad intel going in. But anyway,
Okay.
fortunately, we got the crew back. We got the merchant ship back. And so I had a little bit of excitement within all that.
I would say.
came, came home and started to get back into school again. Um, um, got married, started having kids, and then started wanting to train again. Ended up bringing one of my sons to a guy that I knew from high school that we had trained together in Shotokan, and he was teaching Muay Thai and he was teaching Wing Chun. He had started training under Francis Fong, and through Francis Fong had met Arjun Chai, and then he started doing some Muay Thai with that. So we brought him over there. Him being excited about learning it sort of got me back into it again, and been training ever since. So that was 78.
Okay.
Wait, no, hang on. My memory's going crazy. 88.
Okay.
88. And been training ever since then.
Whew.
Yeah. So through him, of course, I met Francis Fong, and then I met Arjun Chai. And funny story with Arjun Chai was I think the second time that I'd ever trained with him or at a seminar with him. Can't say I trained with him. I went to a seminar. Okay. And everybody knows there's a big difference between training with someone and having attended a seminar. So anyway, attended a seminar with him, and quite honestly, I was not really impressed with him. Um, I found him to be a bully. I thought him to be a bully because of the way that he was treating some of his students. But I didn't know and understand what he was doing, what he was about at the time.
Yeah.
And it's funny. He came over and he said, "Sir, you a Wing Chun guy?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I am." And he said, "Yeah, your Wing Chun look pretty good, but your Muay Thai sucks, sir." He said, "But we're gonna make you back into a Muay Thai guy. Keep working on it." And it was probably a year, 18 months of being able to chase him down different places. I went to Oklahoma, went to Atlanta. He was in Dallas. Wasn't going to Houston at the time. Dallas, uh, somewhere in the Little Rock area in Arkansas, I believe. I went one time and caught him. So I was able to see him 6, 7 times throughout the next 18 months. And I started to realize that his methodology was he really wanted you to keep your hands up, defend yourself at all times.
Yep.
That you're in a fight, that it's not a game. And of course he's a rascal. And in time ended up loving him. He's a phenomenal human being, and I truly believe that the martial arts. I probably, with other things in my life, because of the military stuff that I went through and everything, I probably would be in jail or dead somewhere if it wasn't for the martial arts. And I
Yeah.
guess that's one reason why I'm so passionate about it, because I truly believe it saved my life.
Yeah.
And because of that, I have tried very hard to pass it on to other people and try to pass it on with the same vigor and passion as what he's given me, much as my other instructors, Sifu Fong, Guru Dan, uh, Arjun Chai. I mean, just phenomenal guy.
Yeah. That's
And
awesome.
that brings us, I've just been teaching ever since. Had to travel because it wasn't here,
Yeah.
and then but met a lot of really really good people out there. There's we're a strange breed, and we're all strange in our own ways, but there's a lot of really really good people that are in the TBA and the World TBA. So if it
Yeah.
wasn't for that, I wouldn't have met those. I wouldn't have met you. It's
Yes, sir. So, being under both Francis Fong and Ajahn Chai, what would you say the main differences in their teaching methodology?
um Arjun Chai is a lot stricter. He demands discipline, and that discipline is not, it's about respect. It's about conditioning of your heart, your body, your mind, your soul, your spirit. Um, and I think that's the Sifu is a lot more traditional and of course they're different. They're different cultures. They came from different cultures.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, Sifu is very traditional in some aspects, uh, but he's more along the lines of, okay, here it is. You work it, you practice it, you make it better. Argentai is, I will do anything that I have to do to make you get it right.
Yeah.
So it's uh, and I don't want to say he force feeds you, but when you're with him, you're going to get it and you're going to get it right.
Oh, yeah. Very
With Sifu
quickly.
Fong, he wants you to have it right, but it's up to you to go get it. So
Okay.
I think that's some of the major differences. Uh, I don't think that one's better than the other. It's just the Sifu is like, you better want it, and I'll give it to you, but you got to show me that you want it. Arjun Chai is, okay, you're here, I'm going to give it to you, and if you don't want it, then I'm just going to make you do push-ups.
Right. I'll never forget the first time he ever held mitts for me, and I thought I did terrible because I kept missing the slips and stuff, but I did protect my chin at all times. Even when I missed the slips and missed the bob and weaves, I still had a good guard on my chin. And afterwards, I'm thinking, man, I messed up big time, right? And we're done, and I start to go back to my seat, and he turns to me, "Oh, sir," it's like, "Yeah, you're a pretty good fighter."
No, that's good. Yeah, that's nice.
Oh, whew, thank God, because I felt like I did terrible.
Yeah, I think everybody feels that way. I mean, watching other people go through it, there's a knowledge that you have stepping into that. Um, but he's so quick, and his timing is so good that um, you think you have it, and boom, you get hit. Wow, that came out of nowhere. But he makes you better.
Yeah,
It and that, I guess, that was one of the things that I had never had an instructor hit me back, kick me back that way.
yeah,
Uh, and so there was sort of for me at the time, it was a disconnect because I didn't realize what he was doing. I said, well, man, you just being abusive. I'm punching. I'm going to be, but uh, it certainly made me much quicker. It made my defenses much, much, much better. And then, of course, in time, my timing became much, much better.
yeah,
So yeah, and it was as I grew within understanding what he was doing, what his methodology was, I came to love him and accept him, and was excited about anytime he held for me. I was like, oh yeah, this, I know I'm going to get hit, but it's good.
yeah.
Yeah.
What was your hardest test?
Uh, as far as for with Muay Thai,
Yeah.
like with anything.
Well, let's Muay Thai first.
Well, I would, that's gonna, Muay Thai was my hardest test period.
Oh, okay.
And that's I mean, Shotokan, I was young, and the instructor that I had when I was doing Shotokan, Shotokan's really big on forms. There's or katas. There's, like, if I remember right, 26 different katas. He wasn't really big on kata, and it was funny. Ernie Fournette, he called it air dancing. He was an Army Ranger, came out, got back into the National Guard, went to work for the state police, became a state police defensive tactics instructor. And his whole thing was, we can air dance, or we're going to learn how to fight. And so we did lots of sparring, lots of banging and everything. So those tests were really tough as a young man coming up.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, compared to what I did with Muay Thai, it wasn't as tough. But as a young man coming up, yes, it was, because I actually tested against, I was 17 at the time, and there was, full grown men that I'm testing against and having to spar against. So, even at 16, 17 into 18, you still haven't fully developed as a young man. You're still growing, and you don't have your full strength yet. So to me at the time, it was tough.
Okay.
When I did my Muay Thai test, and it's funny, I trained for many, many, many years with him. Never tested. He never asked me to test, and I never asked to test, because my thing was, if when I'm ready, he's going to ask me to test,
Right.
versus going out and test. So I just never tested. Brought other students up, brought people to him, had them test. So I had 7 or 8 students that were already ranked and were working on becoming associate instructors under him, and I hadn't tested as an apprentice yet at the time. And one day he asked me, he said, "Sir," I said, "what rank are you? What level are you?" And I said, "I'm not anything." He said, "What?" No, you have to test. And I said, "Well, no one's ever asked me to test. Nobody's ever brought me forward to test, so I've never tested." "Oh, well, next time you're going to test. You test." So 6 months later or whatever, we run into each other again, and was in Atlanta, and he says, "You're going to test." Uh, and I couldn't test at the time. I'd hurt my foot, but I had gone anyway. So I said, "Look, I've got to. I'd hurt my foot, healing from that. Prefer not to test now." So that went on, and it would just, after several years, he finally said, "Where's the instructor from Alabama?" And he has everybody lined up. You do your count offs and everything. So, "Where's the instructor from Alabama?" And I'm from Louisiana. Who's the instructor from Alabama? I'm like, "It's not me." Looking around for everybody, and he goes, "You, sir, you, come see." And I said, "Me?" He said, "Yes, you're instructor from Alabama." I said, "No, sir, I'm from Louisiana, sir." "Oh, Louisiana. Okay, come see Alabama." And so I tested, and from that point forward, he always called me Alabama. And I think the at the time, the instructor from Alabama was Gerald. I can't think of Gerald's last name now. Having a bad senior moment. Anyway, so anyway, I tested, uh, and yeah, I was older, um, and that was probably the hardest test I'd ever had. Uh, Physically,
Okay.
mentally it wasn't a big deal, but physically, yeah. When you, and I think it's important as an instructor to have gone through that. One, for your students. Two, if you've never been there, you don't know what other people are going through. It's really easy as
Yeah.
an instructor to sit back and say, "Hey, give me another 20 kicks, do another set of 5, 10 fives or whatever, do another set of matrix kicks, whatever." So it's really easy to do that because you're not breathing hard, you're not struggling. So I think it's important for everybody to go through that. It's kind of a gauntlet to understand that when you ask somebody to do something, you have an idea at least of what they've gone through. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of instructors today throughout the martial arts, and I say that as an umbrella generically, that are theoretical martial artists. They've never really banged. They've never really sparred hard. There's a lot of them that don't spar at all. Uh, you know, it's like when you get hit, you tell that guy, "Thank you, man. You showed me I did something wrong." Uh,
Right.
it is a fighting sport, and if you don't get out there and spar and fight, are you really doing the sport? You know, are you really doing the art? And then are you? How can you truly perpetuate the art if you haven't actually done it yourself?
Yeah.
So I have, you know, I've done lots of banging and lots of sparring and stuff, but I'd never tested. So I did that, and that was probably the hardest thing. Yeah, couldn't was my legs were pretty sore for a week afterwards.
As they will be.
Oh yeah, and it should be that way. You know, it
Yeah.
should be. It needs to be appropriate, but it needs to be hard and tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember taking my tests. Took my my last one, my crew test at in Maryland.
Hmm.
So and in a hotel. That was not easy. It was he get a little beat up. But
Well,
it gives you a good appreciation though for what you have to go through, because there's so many things that you can say whatever you want. You can demonstrate the cleanest technique in the world, but can you do it under pressure? And
absolutely.
I think that's really the main difference between a lot of tests and a test like this.
Well, and you know, it's one thing to be given a rank or to be given. It's another thing to have earned it, and to have earned it through the respect of being hit and kicked. You
Yeah.
know, there's really there's nothing in life that's much more truthful than someone punching you in the face or kicking you in the body and kicking your leg, and you trying to stop them from doing it, and it happens anyway. You know, you can say you're good, you can say you're, like you said, you can say anything, you can demo it all day long. You look, I look great when I'm demoing, you know.
Right.
when when the other guy's actually trying to take your head off, trying to knock you out, there's nothing that's much truthful than that. You either
Yeah.
got hit or you didn't.
Right.
You stopped him, or you you prevented it, or you got hit. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
And there's no denying that whatsoever. And that's in any of the martial arts. You know, that's stick fighting or grappling or anything. You either got crushed or you didn't.
Right. Yeah.
So
Theory. Yeah.
I I adhere to that strongly with my students, and with, you know, it again, it needs to be appropriate, but it's, you know, so when you go through that, when it's over and done with, you know, you go, yeah, I'm glad I did it. I earned it. Yeah. and
Yeah.
and and the appreciation that you get back from your fellow, and the respect that you get back from your fellow participants, are it's genuine, because they know what you went through.
Yeah. Absolutely. I have to tell people that the main difference between theory and habit is that theory is thrown out, your habit takes over.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. uh, and you know, there's so many people that are theoretical. They do the drills, they do the they get on the bags and they hit the bags. Okay, they look good. They do the pad work. Okay, they look good doing pad work. They skip. They look great doing skipping, but they can't stop someone from hitting them or kicking them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. That's good stuff.
so you know, it's funny. You know, automatically when you see someone move. You know the old saying, when you know.
Yep.
When you see someone move, you go, okay. The moment you see someone throw a punch at another person, and you say, man, he's so far out of range, his timing is off, then again, you know, he he may be great in drills, he may be great on a heavy bag, but he hasn't done it against somebody else. And
Right.
you can't take that factor out, man. That other guy hitting you back. And you know, look, I've I've embarrassed myself over the years many times walking into a place. thinking that, hey, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. And looking at other people move around and you go, uh, uh. And then that guy hands you your butt, you know, you go,
Yeah, I think we've all been there.
yes, if we're honest.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's and sometimes it's unexpected when you're like, this guy's nothing, and then you find out that his timing is good,
Yeah.
his distance control is
Yeah.
good, his angles are good. Oh, okay, this is not the guy I thought he was.
Nope. Yep. Yep. I've seen some people who are not very athletic moving that like, wow, wow, they can do it. They can bring it. So,
That's that habit.
yep. Yep.
So, as a coach, how do you start your day? Because it's always kind of a big thought process is how do you start your day, plan your day? How do you set yourself up for success in coaching?
Okay. Well, you know, in my case, I don't want to say I'm retired, but I'm semi-retired from it. You know, I had a school for many, many years and passed the school on to one of my students. Uh, but when I was doing it full time, um, when I got up in the morning, I would probably spend 30 to 45 minutes just by myself, uh, reflecting on uh, me, where I am, uh, what could I do to improve myself as a person, as a teacher, as a coach, um, and then kind of go from that point. That was sort of reflective time every time in the morning. I'd get out and go walk my dogs and spend that time doing that. Um, and then depending on what who I was working with during the day, um, if I was working with fighters, whatever fighters were preparing for a fight, I usually did some type of research, watching film or video of the other fighters and stuff, and it's kind of making a game plan for individual fighters. Uh, when it came to teaching, as far as in the school itself, that's pretty much whatever our curricular aspect was for that week. Or I usually taught with a theme for the month
Okay.
and sort of set everything within that theme, and then tried to. I tend to teach uh, with through platforms versus here's a technique and work this technique. Uh, I would do a platform combination or a combination platform. And then, so let's look at uh, jab, restraint, hook, restraint. Okay. Basic 4 count. Um, what's moving whenever you throw the jab? You're moving, of course, your fist and you're kind of aiming with the fist, but you're also moving your forearm, your elbow, your shoulder, other parts of your body. So that jab could be an elbow instead. So I teach within that platform. The jab is the elbow or is the elbow. The rear straight is also an elbow. Um, uppercut can be an elbow. So if I do a one, two, if I do a left kick, rear straight hook, right kick, the
Okay.
kick, the kick could be a knee instead of a kick, depending on what range you're in. So I would teach the combination, and then here's the elbow combinations with it. Here's the knee combinations with it, and then flow back and forth between ranges and stuff. So that's sort of my teaching methodology with everything. If I'm doing stick work, of course, you can hit with a stick, or you can hit with a puño.
Yep.
Or you can hit with the tip of the stick, center of the stick with a puño. That same motion is an elbow coming down. That same motion, So I teach within that whole platform, uh, so that when someone gets just a jab or a straight, you're getting more than just a jab or a straight. And then look at the body mechanics. What are you doing with your body? What parts of your body are moving? What's the kinetic chain? And then if we change the range, how do you change from the punch to the elbow instead? How do you change from being a kick to a knee instead? You know, um, a step is a kick is a step is a foot stomp. you know, so I started teaching that realm. So whenever we have whatever it is that we're teaching for the curriculum for that month, is I will give all of the different variations, as many variations as possible within that training. If someone is new, then stay with your punching and your kicking. Don't try to do all this other stuff. Get good at that. And then with intermediate people, I'll start working with, okay, so if I'm receiving you and you throwing a jab at me, and I step in as you throw the jab, can you throw the jab this way, or what changes? The range changes. So can you convert your jab into an elbow instead because the range changed?
Right.
And so I start playing with those kinds of things. And so that's sort of how I go about my day, set it up myself, and then what am I doing with individual that I'm working on, and then how do I teach the classes?
Okay. Oh, very good. And I think you touched on it a little bit, but how do you see cross training in that from one art to another and the benefits
You
of it?
know, I don't consider cross training a thing.
Okay.
To me, it's training. It's all training. Now, if I want to stay within the aspects of just Muay Thai, and I'm going to do something that's going to help me uh, better my Muay Thai, strength training, is that really cross training? No, you're still training Muay Thai. You're still training the human body for Muay Thai. Uh, the footwork that I use in Muay Thai, I use in other aspects as well. So it, I don't use the term cross training. To me, it's just training. So
Okay.
now, how do I can compartmentalize information, and I think a lot of people do that to begin with. Is even within a particular art, you can compartmentalize the stuff that we do for Muay Thai, put it in a box, set it up on the shelf, and say, okay, there's Muay Thai. And then I do Wing Chun, and okay, the different stuff and things that we do with Wing Chun, I compartmentalize that, put it in a box, set it up on the shelf. So because I can compartmentalize it, I can teach it as an individual thing.
Okay.
What I tell people is, don't do what I do if you're doing Wing Chun. Don't do what I do as if you're doing Muay Thai. If you want to strictly do Muay Thai, do what I tell you to do. Because when I do Muay Thai, I have Wing Chun inside of my Muay Thai. It's there
Yep.
because it's there. You can't take it out. It's already there. The boxing aspects that I had before is already there. The Pikiti Tersha Kali stuff that I do is there. And I will utilize it within the game of Muay Thai, and I will use Muay Thai within the game of Wing Chun or whatever else because it's there. So I don't compartmentalize that for myself. I would do it for teaching. But then I take it off the shelf and I use whatever it is that I need. And
Yeah.
I think that's, I guess a lot of people, say, "Well, you JKD it." I said, "No, I don't play that game whatsoever. I just use whatever I use
Yeah.
because that's there."
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, Arjun Chai did Shotokan karate.
He did.
You know, and there's some things that sneaks in from time to time from his Shotokan. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
he's a pretty doggone good knife guy.
He's an excellent knife guy.
He's a pretty doggone good grappler.
He is.
Yes, and he doesn't show it. He doesn't do it. He always asks somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
But he's got it.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny when I the first time he asked me, he said, "Oh, so you have a knife, sir?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Grab me a knife." "Oh, no. I said, "Get a training knife. Get a training knife." And he uses the blade upside down. He doesn't use it, with the spine up. He flips it over upside down. And it was
Yeah.
funny. The first time he did that to me, I was like, "Okay, what's he gonna do?" Uh, and so we played around a little bit and everything. And he's a very, very good knife guy.
Yeah.
Very quick, very fast. He's got a lot more behind him than most people think he does. And you'll see it again, when you'll see different things come out of him that's not strictly Muay Thai
Right.
because it's there, it's in him. He'll use it. Same thing with Francis Fong. His Wing Chun is not for the sake of a better term, pure. Is there anything that's pure? Not really. So
Everything influences everything.
absolutely, absolutely. So if someone comes to me and they say, "Look, I just want to learn Muay Thai," good. Then don't do what I do, because if you see me do something, you're not going to see just Muay Thai. You're going to see all the other influences that are inside of me, because you can't stop it. And if you do stop it, then that means the other part's not in you. It should just be automatic. You don't think about it. You respond versus react to it.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah. And my students pointed out before, I'll be sparring with them and they're like, "What? You've never taught that." I said, "Taught what?" No, what the thing you just did. And I don't even,
You
when
don't
you're
recognize
sparring,
it.
you
Yeah.
don't even know what you're doing. It's just you're flowing with it, right? And they're
Right.
like, "That thing you just did." And I was like, and I think, "Oh, that's actually, that was trapping." That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Or some of the kicks I pull out might go all the way back to when I was in Kenpo, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, but it just kind of like ebbs and flows as you flow.
Right. Well, and it should be that way. That means that it's in you versus you having to think about it. If you have to think about it, then it's really not there.
Yeah.
You should just be responding with it. There's
Yeah.
no thought with it. Uh, so yeah, my because of all the other stuff, I have lots of influences within my Muay Thai. It doesn't look like strictly Muay Thai because it's not gonna.
Yeah.
And I think it should be that way. And we're all different. You know,
Yeah.
uh, and we have different perspectives. We're gonna see things from different vantage points. Um, but if I hit you, I hit you, and if you hit me, you hit me. That's the name of the game, right?
Absolutely.
There you go.
There was one time, speaking of John Chai and his knife work, there was one time at one of the camps, because I've been going to the Pacific Northwest Muay Thai camp for years and years. Um, and at dinner one time, he's like, "Oh, who wants to throw knives?" And
Oh,
like, there was two of us that stood up. It was me and one other person. He's like, "Okay, get your knives." And so he's sitting there, and we created a triangle, and he taught us how to throw and catch live blades.
oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, throwing them is not a big deal. Catching them, that's another story.
yeah. And he did it. He walked us through it. We had this triangle, and we were catching and throwing live blades to each other. Nobody got cut. And I will never forget it. At the last point, he grabbed the blade, turned around, boom, threw it, sunk it right into a tree trunk.
Hmm. Yeah, he's pretty amazing guy.
Yeah.
I it's been as I said, I remember the first time he pulled out a knife or he asked me if we had a knife, and then from there it's been probably a dozen times that he's come over and done some knife stuff or whatever. Uh, and he it's never the same. He always does a little trick. He always does something really quick. Uh, tell you who else is really good with knife is Sifu Fong.
Oh, I'm
He's
sure.
so quick, so quick. But uh, I've learned a lot of things from Arjun Chai because what he does is different.
Yeah.
And it's the difference when if you haven't seen it before, that's when you go, ooh, where was that? And then you're dead. So that's I appreciate the some of the little nuggets of gold that he's given me on the side, knife, even with stick work. Of course, with Cabrica Brong, uh, some of the things that he's given me, I go back and oh, you know what? I have this in Pikiti, but we don't do it exactly this way. But boy, it's similar.
Yeah.
The strategy behind it is a little bit different, but it's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. He spent one, and we usually have Professor Trigg do
Yeah.
boxing. One year, Professor Trigg couldn't make it. I think he was cornering one of his fighters in Vegas. And so he couldn't make it for one of the camps. And so that camp, instead, what he did was he brought in Colonel Natapong from
Oh,
Thailand.
yeah.
And he taught us Krabi every day for an hour. And that was just phenomenal. So much fun. We even replicated last day of the camp. We even replicated like one of the battles in Thailand.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
y'all doing double sticks with the
Yep.
kabri?
Yep. We
Yeah.
were doing double sticks. Yep. Yeah. And what was it Rum Dab, right? Rum Dab.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Steve Wilson did a lot of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's phenomenal. Yeah. In fact, they have a group now for Gabig Gabong here in the United States. There's I think 3 or 4. I think it's Steve Wilson. I think it's Jason Webb and and Arlen Sanford.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I
Yeah, so
forgot about it. Yeah,
yeah, those guys. That's awesome. That's a good group right there.
that's cool. Yeah. I know Arjun Greg Nelson did a little bit of it, and then they did a lot of. I think he and several couple other guys did several demos and stuff with live blades. Uh, So they're getting the sparks and everything coming off of the blades and all. Pretty neat.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you're in really good health.
I
So
am. I
I
am.
wanted I wanted to touch on that because you've been training for decades now,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and you're in phenomenal health. Is there a particular diet that you stick to? Is there a regiment of exercises you do? How do you keep up with your vitality?
Um, I think I think having a good wife helps. Uh, I don't. I'm on a seafood diet. I see food, I eat it. No, I don't really I don't really watch what I eat, but I eat relatively healthy. I don't eat lots of fried foods. I don't eat lots of fatty foods and stuff. I'll eat good proteins, a lot of vegetables. Uh, I am in South Louisiana, so rice and gravy is a big thing down here.
All right.
So we have that, but no, I think genetics has a little bit to do with it. I think being a non-smoker, very moderate drinker, um, and just exercising is really the key. And um, I can't exercise the way that I used to. Look, I'm 70 years old now, man. I can't do those kinds of things, and the body just doesn't go. Um, but I still walk every day. Try to walk, go out and do three miles every morning. Um, sometimes I can't, but I'm trying to do that. I still am active. I still kick the bags. I go on the bags and I'll kick for 5 or 10 minutes on the bags. I'll do pad work. I can't skip anymore. I've had both my knees replaced and I've had major surgery on my right foot. So
Okay.
that pounding, just you can't take that anymore. But uh, I miss running. And then I made the mention I started running when I was 14, and I ran until I had my knees replaced 5 years ago.
Okay.
So I have spent most all of my life running, uh, 2 miles every day minimum, 3 miles once a week, 5 miles once a week. Uh, I think that has helped keep my heart up. And my doctor says that he's amazed that he doesn't see people my age with as good a heart rate as I do. My blood pressure is good. My resting heart rate is 48 to 52.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think that's a lifetime of exercise and not overdoing it too.
Yeah.
The the one thing that I found really strange over the last couple of years now is all of the bruises in my shins have come back. And I went to a dermatologist, I said, what is this? All these black marks that are beginning on my legs, is this skin cancer or something that's coming back or whatever, and he said, no, man. He said, that's all bruises. He said, that's all the bruises that you've had, they will come back. And so
Cool.
it looks like I got freckles all over my legs now, but it's, I guess all the banging of the shins and everything over the years.
Oh yeah.
But I think health wise, um, living a good life, having good people around you, having a positive mental attitude, uh, not overindulging in anything in particular, and good exercise. I think
Yeah,
that, you know, for me, that's the key. I'm a non-smoker, so my lungs didn't get burned up or anything.
that's huge.
And then, of course, that has a lot to do with your skin being supple and everything as well. Uh, but you can't discount genetics. Um, I know
Yeah,
people who have done pretty much the same way as I have, that they they're struggling at my age because genetics just didn't allow them to be able to do it. So
yeah,
uh, it's funny. My brother, who is autistic, he's overweight, uh, and yet when talking to his doctor and everything, his doctor said his heart is great, his blood pressure is good. I don't see people who are overweight like him that don't have high blood pressure. So there's got to be a genetic aspect as well.
yeah.
So
There
I kind of
probably is. There's a great. So I don't know if you know who Francis Collins is. Um, he's actually the scientist slash doctor that unlocked the human genome,
oh, okay.
and so he's one of the top guys. And one thing he said is with the advent of being able to unlock the genome, they found out they actually can turn off and on different parts of genetics, and it's simple. It's just diet changes and stuff
Mm.
like that. And there's certain, like, everybody lacks certain nutritional values. And what they found out is that people who don't have good genes can have good genes
Mm.
once you know how to turn on the proper elements that you're lacking.
That's
So
interesting.
yeah,
And I would, you said diet. I would assume that yeah, diet, exercise. To me, exercise is key. You got to keep moving. Don't stop moving. I think that's the major problem with so many people. They quit. And I still, um, I wake up at 5:30, quarter to six every morning. I don't sleep with an alarm or anything. I just wake up. I get up, drink a cup of coffee, and I go walk.
there you go.
And then I piddle around most of the day, and then sometimes I have a private lesson around noon or something, and I'll go in and do. Excuse me, I'll go in and do that. I still coach 4 days a week, sometimes 5 days a week, uh, a couple hours every day, and that keeps me going. And I still, uh, I can't, I will play with people. I can't spar with people anymore.
Yeah,
And it's funny. Some people, yeah, man, you want to spar? You want to spar? No, I don't. I can't take the hits the way that you can, as a young person. Uh, my body's still tempered. My
yeah,
my head's not. I can't take the hits in the head at 70 years of age. But it's amazing. I can still take a kick. I can still take a pretty good solid punch to my body. So uh, usually when we're playing around with those kinds of things, it says, okay, if we're going to do this, guys, kick me in the legs, kick me in the body. Don't punch me in the head. And we'll go from there. So, but staying active, that's the thing. And I still do push-ups and do crunches and uh, I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I'm a black belt Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I do a Brazilian jiu-jitsu class once a week.
there you go.
Still, staying active. That's the key.
Yeah,
In a positive mental attitude. I think that's there's so much negativity, and negativity will bring you down and bring your spirit down. Just be positive. And
yeah.
I don't know how people can be so negative.
It's a good question.
I don't know how they are.
It's funny it's funny you say that, but staying active. There was so I was a lineman for over 20 years. And there was one day I was working up the poles, pulling a line over to a gentleman's house, and my friend and I were working on it together, going over the street and up the hill. And I look down and I see this gentleman, and I'm thinking he's got to be 70, right? Because he's just he's an older gentleman, but in great health, and
Mhm.
he's taking these boxes back and forth from his house to his car, to his house to his car, to his house to his no walker, no cane, and I was like, man. I have to ask him about this because that's phenomenal, right? And so I got done and I went up to inform him what we had done. And I said, sir, you don't have to answer me. I just have a question. You look like you're probably 70 years old. What's your secret? Because you don't appear to be, disabled at all. And he's like, oh, no, no. He's like, I'm 97.
Wow.
I was like, wait,
Wow.
you're what?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm 97 years old. I'm a full-time attorney downtown.
Still working.
Still
Wow.
working.
Wow.
He said, here's the secret. He said, find out what you love about life and never stop.
That's
He
it.
said, the moment that you stop is the moment that your death will begin. He said, all of my friends are dead. He said, whatever your passion in life is, make it your job and do that for the rest of your life. He's like,
Yeah.
and then you can be like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's I, if you find what you enjoy and you can live your passion, then you're not going to be working very hard. You
Yeah.
know, you're going to be living hard. You're going to be living strong. Um, I was fortunate to recognize that I, I may have I have a little bit of a gift of being able to help teach and coach, uh, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
and it's the those times that injuries come, and you're going to be down for a little bit with injuries and everything, but you can start working going back. When you age, those injuries, all of them come back, and then when the body parts begin to wear out, and I start thinking of I'm not going to be able to do this anymore. I'm not going to be able to do this. And then I see other people that had the same sort of injuries, and they get a knee replacement, and then all they are barely walking whatsoever, and they're struggling to, and there's, man, how can you continue to kick and do the stuff you do? I just do it. I just, I don't sit back and wait. When I had my knees done, I had one knee, my left knee, I was actually on a run. My doctor had been telling me, you got to stop running because your knees are so bad that, I said, well, if I stop running today, is that going to heal my knee? No, of course not. So,
Right.
so, so if I continue to run, what's going to happen? He said, well, you're going to have your knee replaced. And I said, so if I don't run, I will have to have my knee replaced. Yes. If I do run, I'll still have to have my knee replaced. Yes. So I'm going to run.
Right.
This is what I enjoy doing. So I'm going to run. So my right knee bothers me. My left knee is the worst one. And it was just kind of odd, but my left knee never hurt me. It was just bad. Uh,
Okay.
my right knee, uh, my left knee was bent at about 22.5 degrees because it was so
Oh,
much. Yeah, I could not straighten it all the way because there was so much arthritis that was built up behind the knee itself. It would not straighten all the way.
okay.
Um, so I'm on a run, and I was probably 10 minutes into the run, and boy, something let go of my knee. And I was like, oh, this is not good. Ended
Oh,
up dragging, going over to a lady's house and knocked on the door. And I said, would you please call my wife? Because I didn't have my phone with me or anything. And she came and picked me up, went to see the doctor. And he said, that Friday we had surgery and he replaced my knee. So when they start setting me up for the PT, physical therapy, the therapist came in that afternoon and he said, look, we're going to get you to stand up. And he said, if you can, we'll take a couple little steps. And I said, if I take a couple little steps, we're walking out the door. He said, no, 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 no. We just want you to take a couple steps, And I said, if I take a couple of steps, we're walking out the door. So of course we get up. I have a walker, and he straps me into the walker and everything. And sure enough, I take a couple steps and I walk right on out the door. Take a right, walk down into the hallway, came back. Well, by the time I get back, I'm exhausted. I was tired, and because it was painful, but I did that. He told me, he said, I've been doing this for 13 years. I've never had anybody walk the first day after having had a knee surgery. And I said, well, if you had me take 2 steps, we can take 3. If I can do 3, I can do 4. And that's my attitude.
yep.
It's that you can always do more than you think you can. You can go further than you think you can. And so When I had my second knee done 6 months later, when I had the other one done, he was the same therapist. He came in, he goes, I guess we're walking down the hallway again, huh? He said, if I take 3 steps to the door, we're going out the door. And we did. And he said, man, I wish everybody had that kind of attitude. You know, and I said, that was my attitude. I'm going to push and I'm going to go as hard as I can. If I can't hurt myself, then let's keep going.
Yep.
So when I did my physical therapy, in 3 weeks. I reached all the benchmarks that they wanted me to do within 3 weeks. Most people do physical therapy. It takes 3 to 4 months after having a knee replacement. I did it in 3 weeks' time, and I went in, had a mouthpiece, grunted, cried, did everything that they made me do because I wanted to be out and do it. So it's having that attitude toward everything that you do. I think makes you successful, keeps you going, keeps you young. You know, I have a lot of young people around me. Uh, I have several young mentors that I work with. Having that keeps you young, keeps your brain active. Keep on going.
Yeah, absolutely. Phenomenal.
Yeah, I think it's that mental attitude of can do. You know,
Yeah,
I was very fortunate. My parents were very positive people. Their attitude was you can do and be anything that you want to be as long as you put forth the effort to do it. And then being around people like Arjun Chai, you know, if they can do, you can do. You know,
absolutely.
uh, the guys that I was with when I was in the military, the attitude was, other people have done it, you can do it. Let's go. So I've maintained all that. Luckily for me, I've maintained it most of my life. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
This has been a phenomenal talk. I really
Oh well,
appreciate
thank you. I appreciate it.
it. Where can people find you online?
uh, I'm on Facebook, Danny Terrell, Terrell, Danny Terrell. I'm on Facebook. Um, I've got an Instagram account. I don't do very much with that. I'm not a really social media savvy guy. I do a little bit of it because it's there. If it, my email is coachdannyterrell@gmail.com. Um, I would be more than tickled pink to work with anybody that wants to better themselves in Muay Thai or Wing Chun or Pikiti Tersha Kali or Brazilian Jiu Jitsu or submission wrestling. We do it all. We do all of that stuff, and I continue to play. I, I'm at a point in my life now where my wife and I have become nomads. We live in a camper, a fifth wheel camper, and we travel. Uh, and if I'm in an area, I'll put out the word that hey, I'm going to be in an area for a bit and train and have fun.
It's
That's
kind
the
of a
way.
really good thing.
Yeah, we're loving it. I highly recommend it if you're like to travel. Man, that's the way to go. And then, you know, I've been able to meet so many different people that I would not have met uh, without traveling that way. So yeah, it's awesome. I also do. If anybody's interested, I'll do Zoom sessions with them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, um, that's another good way to do it. I have people out of Japan, out of Germany, out of Finland, Australia that I work with doing Zoom sessions.
Oh, fantastic. Even
Yeah,
better.
yeah, so, yeah.
It- it's nice the way that the world has got a little smaller and bigger at the same time.
That is one of the best things that came out of the pandemic.
Yeah.
It may have come along anyway, but it was been further down the road. But that's the one thing that came out of the pandemic. It was being able to have that Zoom type platform or platforms like this where we could actually work with each other, and it proves that you can.
Yeah.
Whereas and I was one of those at first, and I was like, man, you can't teach online that way. You can't do that. Well, yeah, you can,
Hmm.
it's tougher for beginners, but it can be done. But if someone's experienced, it's a whole lot easier if they have the experience to do stuff. Uh, and so we do that too as well. So yeah,
Awesome.
and then I do several camps a year. Um, I'm also doing. Boy, I would love to do this with you. uh, Arjan Haroon Raja
Oh
and I
yeah.
are working on doing a camp in June of next year, Muay Thai camp. I'm doing a Muay Thai camp, a 3-day Muay Thai camp in October at Progressive Martial Arts in New Iberia, Louisiana.
Oh, very
Uh,
cool.
I'm doing a Piki Tersha camp up in New York uh, at the beginning of August. And then we got Living Muay Thai that's coming up
Yep.
in October. Plan on being there. And then I'm going to be doing a Muay Thai camp right after that, the week after the Living Muay Thai camp. So, yeah, I'm staying active.
Very
More fun. And yeah, it's good.
awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And again, I really appreciate all the time you spend here with me and all of our listeners that will be listening to this subsequently.
Yeah. I appreciate you. I'm unhonored. I'm, I'm a humble guy. Pretty, I'm obscure in a lot of aspects. I've stayed relatively low. For a long time, my whole premise was more self-defense, learning a lot of as much as I could. But my main premise was self-defense. So I didn't. I wanted to teach, but I didn't want people to know what I was doing. So it's sort of there's a dichotomy there. I want to be. So I was for a long, many years. I had people say, "Well, I didn't realize you did that." I said, "Yeah, I've been doing it most of my life." And they said, "Man, I." People said progressive martial arts. I didn't even know that. I said we've heard of it, but I didn't know that was you. And I said, "Yeah," because I never advertised myself that much. Uh, Doing a little bit more of that now with Coach Danny versus other stuff, and because I'm traveling and I'm honored to be here. To I've had several podcasts now. I'm going to be doing another one later on during the week with a guy out of Houston. Can't think of his name. Fury. And
Very cool.
it's an honor to me to be a part of it because it's a great community, and if I can give back to it for what my instructors have given to me, uh, I would love to be able to do that.
Well, I think you're doing a great job.
Oh, well, thank you.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much for your time. I'll let you get back to it. And thank you. South Cup.
That would come. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.